Okay, members, if you would go to the next item. Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. Excuse me, I apologize.
The point I wanted to make is I'm not sure the reference to state regulation is appropriate or useful in this situation. I think the approach that we're taking through integrated regional water management plans is the right way to do this. The history of the state, when it tries to move into an area and regulate groundwater, it just gets run out on the town on a rail. But there has been some cooperation on a regional and local basis, people getting together and trying to work these things out. So
yeah.
If you have a preference here, I would suggest that you look at it more as regional water management issue than state regulation.
And Joe, as you do this, I know you were going to look at it anyway. You've got, I think, two very interesting charts on groundwater in the plan on page 97. Something tells me you might want to look at some of the additional charts, PPIC and what did they call it? Sustainable Management of the Delta. Their latest book report had some pretty interesting charts, not just on overdraft challenges, but on governance challenges and styles that are worth looking at. The Water Board's got its chart that shows the state of California with either adjudicated basins or legally enforceable basins that's worth looking at. And, slowly more and more of the state and water being used is subject to those requirements, but it's painfully slow. Don?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, Tom makes a good point. Having a little local experience on that discussion, that I think that even when government at any level is involved, it becomes potentially a real spark plug for a lot of disagreement. But I do think that people recognizing that they need to try to manage things locally rather than have a state or federal intervention, or a legal intervention, if that can be avoided, does provide some incentive because people come and recognize the resource. And I think Mr. Chair has said this many times, how important and essential it is to all of us in the state that, doing it through, your regional and or certainly your approach where you look at, what's available in a general area. And take it from that standpoint, I think you're a much better approach. Sometimes better received, not always, but I would concur with those comments. So.
Okay. All right. So you've got your direction to tinker with that and consider charts and all that if you want. Okay. Members, the next on page 2 of this list is 181. Ms. Marcus had pulled this issue, and Martha, I didn't talk to her about this, and I don't know what she intended.
She said for this item, she just had a question. She's fine with it. She's not asking that it be changed.
All right. Members, do you have any questions, any objections to that language going back in? Without objection. Okay. Members, the next item on page 3 of the chart is item number 196. And it is a staff recommended modification recommended by the grows out of a recommendation by the Independent Science Board. Ms. Marcus had pulled that also.
And again, she just had a point of clarification. She's comfortable with the language.
Okay. Joe, did you have anything to add to that? Anyone in the audience want to talk to that issue? Any objection to putting it back in? All right. Without objection, that's back in. Item 240. Which is a suggestion to expand the climate change discussion, and that grew out of Ms. Marcus's suggestion. I know you talked to her about that a bit.
Yes, and again, she's really pleased with the amount of information on climate change that's in the draft plan. She just wanted to encourage staff to do as much as they can to continue to weave the implications of the climate change through the different chapters.
Okay. Anyone in the audience like to talk about that? All right. Members, any objection to putting that back in? Okay. No problem on item 240. Item 275. Ms. Gray, you had pulled this one off?
Right. I think staff has met with...
I believe so. Mr. Ray, were you working on this one? Who was...